I'm going to look at PLTY and find out what my real average price per share is. Hello my friends, this is Legend. Hey, we're going to take a look at PLTY, and I'm going to look at my portfolio that I have on PLTY, and I'm just going to see what is my actual average price, because I have my average price per share that's shown on my broker account, and that is my purchase price average. But I do receive distributions, and I want to see what my new average or my calculated average price is once I deduct those distributions from that price or that amount of capital that I have invested. That way it will generate a new adjusted capital, and I can get an adjusted price per share for PLTY. So first of all, let's just check out the Webull chart here just to get a view of what PLTY has been doing recently. All right, so here we are on the Webull chart, and as you can see, PLTY did come out originally around that $50 range, and it has gone as high as $76.32. And let's see, it's setting right now, it's setting at about $67.41. So this one here has a nice trend upward. And what I mean by that, if I draw a line here from the start and I draw it up to the end, you can see it has a nice trend upward. So it's an upward moving line as it goes. We've had some hills and valleys, but overall it is trending upward. So let's slide over to my spreadsheet and let's find out what my calculated average is and my purchased average. And I'll go through that, and together we'll see what it is. Okay, so here we are on my spreadsheet here. It's a pretty simple spreadsheet. What I have here is some tables where I will be able to enter in each of my individual entries here in this area, and it will calculate the amount that I've spent so far on each of those buys. And then on this side of the sheet, you'll be able to see how much I've earned on each of the distributions. So let's just go ahead and start right off. And this one here, we're going to go through and we're going to use the ticker PLTY. So PLTY. And whenever I enter that, it will show me what that current price is through Google Sheets. As you can see, the current price as of this video is $67.41. Okay, so that's the current price, and now all I have to do is just enter in my entries here for my individual entries, and then I will enter in my distributions. So for my entries here, I'm just going to type them in straight off of my account. So I'm going to enter in the date for this one was 10/10/2024, and I had a buy price per share was $51.81. And the number of shares I purchased at that time, and that was my first purchase of 5 shares, big 5 shares. But you got to start somewhere. Now I have not been in this one very long, obviously, since October 10th, and I didn't buy into it a lot, but this will still show and calculate what all I have earned. My next purchase was on 11/8/2024, and that share price was at $59.54. And I purchased 21 shares at that time. The next 12/5/2024, and that price was at $67.66, and I purchased 3 shares. And then I made another purchase, and this is my last one, on 1/2/2025, and that was for $69.50 buy price per share for 3 shares. So I've only been nibbling in at this one here. I think this November date was my biggest purchase, obviously, of 21 shares. But I've just been kind of nibbling as I go. This one here has just kept on going up and up. So I'm kind of waiting for it to fall down before I really want to buy into it. But I want to grow PLTY, but I don't want to necessarily keep averaging up too much. So that's why I'm also using that RSI2 method I spoke on some previous videos. But anyway, moving on here. So that's all of my individual entries. Now I can go over here to my premiums, and I will enter in those premiums straight from my broker account as well. Okay, so we have the first one. I got a distribution on 11/8 of 2024. I earned a total amount of $11.01. My next distribution was on 12/6 of 2024. And this one paid me $87.04. That one was about a $3.35 per share. And the one before was around about a $2.20 per share distribution. And then, of course, the latest one that I have is for 1/6/2025. And that one was about a $3.59 per share price that we earned. So that gave me $114.84. So that is all of my distributions for PLTY. So let's go up here, and you can see here I've got my little small little table here of the number of shares and so forth. Let's just see what each one is. So for this one right here, so the total number of shares I have is 32. So I have 32 shares of PLTY so far. And my purchased share average. Now this is the price basically that is the total capital that I spent divided by the number of shares. So this is the purchase price per share average of the amount of money that I spent to buy these shares. And that is at $60.03. And that is my average of the purchase price. That gives me the total capital invested of $1,920.87. So in my broker account, this is what I see as my average and total number of shares. It does not take into account the distributions, dividends, premiums that you may earn on options or anything like that. That you have to figure out on your own. So what I'm doing is entering in my distributions, and the total amount of distributions that I have earned so far is $212.89. So if I spent $1,920.87 and I've got back $212.89, then I want to subtract that off of my total capital invested. So therefore, my new capital at risk is $1,707.98 because I have received back this amount out of my capital. So once this amount of total earned reaches my total capital, then I will have earned 100% of my money back, right? So with my new adjusted capital is $1707.98. So what is my actual adjusted price per share? Now this one will be my calculated average price per share utilizing and take into account that I have earned back a distributions throughout these months. So therefore, my new calculated average price per share is $53.37. So very different from the purchase price of $60.03, right? So this here takes into account, this $53.37 takes into account that I have been earning money throughout. I have been earning some distributions. I want to be able to capture that and roll that back into my price here so that I know at what point, I have got my capital back, and once I've earned my capital back, then it's all 100% gains at that point. So percentage earned so far. Now this would be 11.08% that I have earned so far, because I have earned $212 right here. I've earned that $212 out of the $1,900. Just rounding some numbers here just to make it easier to hear. So I've earned 11% of my capital back. Moving up in it, it's going slowly, of course, but the price has been increasing. And of course, every time you buy more shares or make another purchase, that does affect this, the percentage earned, right? Because that slows it down a little bit, because now you've put more capital in it. But you need to do that so that you can increase the number of shares you have, therefore to increase your distributions. But that is something that you have to pay attention to, and you do have to try to make a good calculated buy price. You do have to work on that. You do need to make sure that you're not just buying at any price, because you could sit there and keep averaging yourself up, and if these ETFs would happen to fall out and drop any significant amount, you'll be stuck holding the bag up there at the top, and the price being, half your cost. And you don't really want that. So therefore, that's the reason I'm trying to calculate this average price per share, so that I can see that my average price per share is $53.37, the current price being $67.41. So I am under the current price. Now, what I would like for that price to do is, if that actual price dropped below the $53.37 of my actual average, then when I purchase, I'm not necessarily going to be averaging up. I would be able to average down at that point, if that makes sense. And just to kind of give you an example of what I mean is, if I go in here and just say, hypothetically that, I buy at $50. So it drops down and it's below my 53 and it's at $50. And I get $50 worth and I buy another, 10 shares. Now, watch that $53.37 for the adjusted price per share. $52.57 now, because that averages it down on my adjusted price per share. And it does as well for the purchased share price over there, because that $50 was below the 60 of what it was originally. So I hope all that makes sense. Now the percent earned, of course, did drop, but we haven't earned another premium or another distribution here to help combat that yet, right? So all you did is make your purchase. So of course, if you put more money and you invest more money and you didn't make any more money, of course that's going to bring your percent earned down slightly. But once you make that new distribution amount and you earn that amount, then that will increase your percent earned there. So I hope all that makes a little bit of sense. And I'm going to go ahead and erase this, because that was just for an example, just to show what that number would do if you were able to purchase below it. Because if you purchase above the 53 but below the 60, so if we purchase at a, say, $55, and we're still going to purchase those 10 shares, and so that $53.37, so if we watch to see what happens whenever that purchase price of $55 of 10 shares, what that does is the $53.37. Of course, it goes up. $53.76. So it went up on the adjusted, but over on the purchased share average over here, which is my calculated capital, of $60 it was, now it's 58. But my adjusted price average here did go up because it was above that. And that's the reason I say that whatever that adjusted price per share is, that is really what I'm looking to purchase it at. I really would like to be able to purchase below that price to help average that down. That way I'm averaging not only my adjusted price per share down, but I'm also averaging the overall share price of my capital down as well. So that is really what I am trying to start to do. I'm going to start being a little bit more careful about when I'm purchasing. I want to try to get these at a lower price. And I'm also going to be, over the next few weeks, I am going to be looking into selling options on these YieldMax plays. Looking into it right now, I do sell options. I buy and sell options on other stocks, but I have not done it for the YieldMax stocks. Now, I don't think I would look to buy options on the YieldMax just because of the NAV erosion, but I would be interested to see if I can sell options. Maybe sell a put on, say, PLTY and be able to get a premium for it. And if it did drop down to that price, that could be possibly a good purchase price, and I could let it get assigned at a cheaper price. So that's kind of the things that I'm kind of looking into. It's going to be a few weeks before I can really get into that, but just kind of give you a little bit of a heads up of what I'm kind of looking at. I think that might be a very interesting method to try to incorporate this in, so I can have my number of shares that I own and also play with a selling a put on the back end here and earn some premium on top of the distributions that I'm earning for the shares that I do own. And if it did get assigned, I would be able to purchase those shares at that set price that I set, right? So I know that was a lot to cover, and that was a lot to take in. Hopefully that you did understand at least what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to calculate my average price per share to better understand where I'm actually at in the play. And then, of course, just a little bit of a teaser, I am looking into doing some options, preferably selling puts on some of these YieldMax ETFs. Not all and not most, but some. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you would please take a moment, like, subscribe, and share this video. It'd be much appreciated. Kind of helps the channel out, and it gets the information and the knowledge out there to other people who may also be into YieldMax, and you don't really want to be in the dark on these. You really need to stay up to date and know what's going on with the YieldMax ETFs. So as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, legend out.